This is my 2006 Honda Fit, which you guys may have seen on the channel in some past videos. If you guys have been following along, you would know that my goal with this car is to make it into the perfect daily driver while still being able to take it out to the mountains and have a little bit of fun. In a previous video, we lowered the car on some lowering springs, and I've gone over everything that went wrong with this car, importing it, and some of the issues I've had. Today, we're gonna be tossing all of these parts on the car that I got from A Premium, because the car is in need of a decent amount of maintenance. And by doing this, it not only will make the car run and just work and drive better, it will also make it more fun and enjoyable to drive. For example, my clutch is slipping on this thing. It needs to be replaced. And right here, I've got a brand new clutch kit. And trust me, a brand new fresh clutch is a lot more fun to drive than a slipping one. Some of the other parts we have here include a cabin and engine air filter. We've got some motor mounts here. We've got full front brakes. That means we've got calipers, we've got rotors, we've got brake pads, and then down here you can see them. We also have some spark plugs as well for the car. Some of these things may not necessarily absolutely need to get replaced, but by doing it, it's gonna ensure the longevity of the car and the enjoyability of driving it. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. We're gonna start ripping this car apart, and we're gonna get that transmission pulled out so we can get the clutch in. Now that we've got the car up in the air, we're gonna get the hood popped and start removing everything we need to drop the trans. Let's dive right into it. All right, so the transmission is somewhere underneath all this. So we're gonna pull all this stuff out. We're gonna take our intake box out, we're gonna take the battery out, and whatever else we find that we think needs to get removed in order to get towards the clutch. Alrighty, just like that, we got the battery and the intake both pulled out. That was pretty easy. That was very straightforward. That only took me like a couple minutes. And now we have a much better view of our transmission down here. I'm assuming I may have to pull this off. This is our upper rad hose. And no, that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, just thinking about what else I need to pull off so we can get a better view at some of these mounts and at the actual transmission itself and the bell housing bolts. We're making decent progress. The shifter linkage all disconnected. I guess not linkage, just shifter cables, because this is all cable based, but all of that's fully disconnected. All these other bolts and whatnot are disconnected. The slave cylinder is disconnected from the transmission, as well as you can see over here, we pulled our starter out. And the starter is what took us the most amount of time, because this is a smaller car, engine bay smaller. A lot of the stuff in here is mostly pretty tight and hard to get to. Now the stuff that was all over here, because it was kind of right on top, easy access to it from the top, wasn't as big of a problem. However, down in this hole, this is the room I was working with to try and get at our starter. The next step is gonna be getting the axles out and the motor mounts disconnected, and then all of the bell housing bolts. Now, the problem with this, and one of the problems I've seen online, is a lot of the motor mounts, especially the mount in the back, is incredibly difficult to deal with. I've seen people using jacks to try and push the motor so they can get, smaller tools in to try and reach it. It's a whole thing, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get it. Yeah, I think the first obvious one is going to be this right here. So this is our first transmission mount, and of course I have a replacement for that, which I'm very excited for. And then I believe that there is also one, down here. There's a torque mount down here, and then there's gonna be one on the back, a bracket, which is the hard to get one. Alright, so earlier I mentioned that I was replacing my motor mounts, and while I knew that this needed to get done, I didn't realize until just now how much it needed to get done. At first glance, this motor mount might not look terrible, but if we give it a wiggle, you'll see just how cracked that is. Now that's not ideal. And well, that's not ideal. This other one is bad. So just over here on this side, down here, there is what is called a torque mount. And it's not a motor mount. It doesn't mount the motor or the trans to the car. What it does do is it helps keep the engine and transmission stable, firm, in its place in the bay, so there's not a lot of rocking back and forth. And if those torque mounts aren't there or they're worn out, what can happen is there can be a lot of play in the motor back and forth. This is said torque mount. You'll notice that the bushing is entirely missing, and that's because it is right here. Those are not supposed to be separated. Anyways, that's where we're at now. This motor mount is disconnected, the torque mount is disconnected, and we're gonna be looking at that one at the back that I mentioned earlier. Well, that's one JDM Honda Fit transmission. Let's drag this sucker out. We're gonna re-grease this, of course. I don't have a new, unless my clutch came with one, a throw bearing. Didn't even think about that. Should probably replace the throw bearing if I don't have a new one. Transmission's out, everything's out of the way, so now we just gotta remove a couple of bolts to get the old clutch out. All right, clutch is out. Let's take a look at this thing. Yeah, there's a lot of hot spots on the pressure plate here. You can see it's very, very worn down. You can even feel just how worn this thing is. These grooves here, I feel like there's supposed to be grooves to this, which they're... If we open this up and take a look at the new clutch from A Premium, you'll see, yeah, those grooves are a lot thicker. There's a lot more to them. So I'm assuming that that other one is quite worn down like I had assumed it was. Yeah, this is definitely pretty cooked. This is time for a replacement. Taking a look down in here, luckily, as far as I can tell, our flywheel doesn't look that bad. I'm going to clean this off properly, obviously, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple of heat spots on there, but for the most part, it's not terrible. I don't have a new flywheel, so we're going to have to reuse that one. So that's why I'm happy that it's not in terrible shape. All right, it's the next day. This is taking a little bit longer than anticipated, but that's okay because we're making progress. We've got all the motor mounts and the torque mount mounted up to the transmission now. We've got our starter in, and everything for the shifter cables is all bolted up. Everything for the top end is put together for the most part, except for one coolant line, which I almost forgot about. Our battery tray, battery, and intake air box. So we're gonna put that aside for now. I'm gonna toss my axles back in on either side, bolt up our new brakes from A Premium, and that should pretty much be it. We're on the home stretch. We're getting pretty close here. All right, now that we're getting all the brakes and everything put back together with the engine, there's one other part that I may or may not have mentioned earlier that needs to be replaced, and it's this. This is a clutch master cylinder, and the one on the Fit is leaking. In fact, it's bad enough that I lost enough fluid that an air bubble got into the line, and it meant that my clutch almost stopped working on me. Anyways, brakes are on now. We're gonna have to bleed the calipers, but once that's done, this guy's also gonna go in. We're gonna toss the battery, air box back in with our new engine air filter from A Premium, refill the coolant, refill our axle, refill our transmission fluid, and that should be pretty much it. The car should be ready to go back down on the ground.
2,000 years later.
All right, so this is kind of a crazy jump cut in a video if I've ever seen one, but let me do some explaining here. Yes, it's snowy outside. The car's not in the garage anymore, and I think it's mostly put back together. I don't even remember where I left off filming. I think I filmed some stuff with replacing my clutch master cylinder. That went poorly, and it just snowballed from there. And basically what I found out is, yes, I need to replace my clutch master cylinder. I tried to buy one for a CRV because it was supposed to fit, didn't fit. Bought one for a Fit, That one fit, no pun intended. And I did that, and then the clutch wouldn't bleed. So I thought maybe the slave also was bad, because it's common for both those items to go at the same time. Replaced the slave cylinder, still won't bleed. Okay, don't know what's going on. I replaced the clutch line itself. This guy right here, you can see it's silver. Swap this out, we're gonna get this tidied up, but in the meantime, it's just gonna sit like this. And now it bled, and we're all good. So now what we have to do is burp the coolant with this handy dandy tool right here. And then we got to do our spark plug still. We're going to clean up our headlights, and I believe we still have a cabin air filter we need to install. Sorry for the crazy jump cut. This has been an insane amount of struggling with the car, dealing with parts not fitting, so on and so forth, but we're back and we're going to keep going. Another reason why I didn't film too much of the other stuff is because it's just, there wasn't really much going on. There wasn't much progress being made, and so there's not really much point in filming that because it's not stuff you guys would want to see. But we're back at it. We're going to burp this, and hopefully this car is going to start up and we're going to be all good. Fingers crossed. Also, can't forget to reconnect the negative terminal on our battery. And we'll see if the car starts. It's been sitting like this for around a month now. I even went to SEMA in between this whole process. So we'll see if the battery has enough juice in it. I'm assuming it's gonna need a jump start though. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, we got lights. We'll see if it's gonna start. Oh, no start. All right, so the jumper cables are hooked up. I guess it's time for round two. Please. Okay, we did it. The car is running. Let me explain what I did here. So as you saw, we were getting lights on the dash, but it wasn't starting. And I was like, you know what? I had to modify how my clutch pedal sits and everything. In order for the USDM clutch master cylinder to work, I had to modify the way that my pedals sit. And I was thinking maybe somehow either something got broken with the clutch safety switch or something along those lines. So I just grabbed the paper clip, jumped the two little pins, and I don't have to push my clutch in anymore in order to start the car. And now it'll start. So I'm gonna have to find a way to do that properly. Probably get like some electrical tape, honestly, and just wrap it up. But yeah, the car is running. And no concerning sounds as of right away. Sounds good. One thing I do want to see though is, will this car go in and out of gear properly? That's what I really want to know, because we just swapped our clutch. Oh, look at that. Like butter. All right, and now that we've got the Fit back in the garage, there's only a couple more things that we have to do. That includes polishing our headlights, installing our spark plugs, and we're also gonna be tossing in our new cabin air filter. We're gonna be cleaning up these headlights because they're a little hazy, especially this one over here. And there's also this, it looks like some sort of paint or something that got dripped onto the headlight. So we're gonna be cleaning all of these up and making them look brand new. All right, as you can see back here, these are our coil packs. So they're a little difficult to reach, but they shouldn't be too bad. There's a little 10mm bolt, so we're gonna pop that off on each of these. These plugs should pop right out, and then we'll be able to get out our spark plugs underneath here. All right, coil pack number 1 is out. As you can see, there's a little bit of oil on here, which means that some of these seals maybe aren't super perfect, and we're gonna have to replace them at some point in the near future. Number 4. Yeah, it looks like, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks like there's some sort of rust or some sort of corrosion on the plug, which probably means that this is probably getting time to being needed to be replaced. Yeah, now that we've got all the spark plugs out, we can see they all look fairly similar, which is good. Consistency with this sort of thing is exactly what you want to look at. Now we just go ahead and toss all the rest in from A Premium. Alrighty, and now that all of our spark plugs are fully installed, we can move on to our cabin air filter. If you just bought a car or you've owned yours for a while and you haven't done this, I'd highly recommend doing this. Basically, all the air that gets pushed into the cabin of your car goes through this filter. And if it's old, if it's worn out, if it's got a bunch of debris in it, it's probably not looking too good. And that will directly affect how the inside of your car smells and the quality of the air going into your car. So now we're gonna install our brand new one in the Fit. Toss that guy back in, then back in here it goes. That is now one successfully swapped cabin air filter on a JDM 2006 Honda Fit 1.5S. Yes, this thing is a race car. I don't know why I bought this. I love this car so much. Now there's one more thing that needs to get done on this car before we put it back on the road, and that is gonna be cleaning up our headlights. Now I've got this kit here made for polishing headlights that was recommended to me by a friend, and supposedly it's supposed to be really good. So we're gonna test it out, see if it works and how good it actually is. Luckily, my headlights aren't too faded. They're not in too bad a shape, so they shouldn't be too difficult. Now, would you look at that? That looks absolutely phenomenal. Now, on camera, it looks like there might be a little bit of a glare, but it's because I put a Cerakote clear coat finish on it and it's still settling. It's still gonna dry. So that's why it might look a little bit funky, but it's super clear. It looks incredible. And if you compare this side to this side, it looks so much better. And the other thing I want to point out is it's like whatever weird paint thing or whatever that was on the headlight right here is completely gone now. So I'm incredibly happy. Now we're going to repeat this over here. Now we got to let these sit for about an hour before we can, take this back outside, touch anything, do anything with it. So I'm going to leave it like this and we'll come back to it in a little bit. Just like that, we've got the car running back outside. It's all snowy. It is miserable, but we've got some winter tires on the car and hopefully we'll be able to get a good test of how this transmission, the new clutch, and all the other parts that we've installed feels. I'm pretty confident in everything. I think everything's gonna feel good. I'm very excited to drive this car again. It's been a lot. It's been a lot that's gone on. But anyways, let's get on to it. All right, so just driving the car around a little bit, it feels absolutely incredible. It is, the clutch feels, how do I put this? Easy. It's very easy. But there's also a lot more driver feel as well, which I'm going to attribute to swapping in the braided clutch line. So if you have one of these cars and you want more clutch feel, I highly, highly recommend doing that swap to a braided stainless steel clutch line. I think that also swapping out all the motor mounts and everything is making the car feel a lot more responsive. It feels stiffer, but in like a good way. It feels like very daily-esque, but it feels good. Everything about this just feels good. And I'm really enjoying it. I've noticing that the car might need a bit of an alignment, but otherwise it's still driving straight. Just need to straighten out the steering wheel. And yeah, the car's feeling great. I think the clutch and the motor mounts did a big, big part of it. But I think also swapping out the brakes, the fact that it stops really good now as well is phenomenal. I think also flushing out my transmission fluid was probably pretty good because the shifter feels even better than it did before. And the car goes in and out of gear really, really well. The car also doesn't have any rev hang anymore, which is really good. Before it had some pretty bad rev hang and it made just driving the car difficult. And you also the clutch was really finicky. You almost had to ride it really, really hard in order to shift gear or to start moving. So the fact that that's not the case anymore is amazing. I'm really happy with it and everything's feeling so good. I also haven't driven the car at night yet, but the clean headlights I know are gonna make a huge difference. I'm very excited, and also just from the looks point, the headlights look great and the whole front end of the car looks so much better because of it. The other thing I noticed is that driving the car with the heat on, it used to almost have like a little bit of like a, I don't even know how to, I guess like just a hot engine smell to it. Not so much like, not like burning oil or anything like that, but it just smelled like engine, if you know what I mean. So I think swapping out the cabin air filter really helped with that as well. The air coming into the car is actually getting filtered now. Overall, I'm super, super happy with the car. I'm very happy with how all of it feels. The clutch feels good, transmission feels good, everything's shifting good, the car feels good, the engine is running smooth, and I have to thank A Premium big time for all the stuff they've supplied me with. If you guys want to do any of the work I did, you need any of the parts that I got, make sure to go check out A Premium as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay updated to what I'm doing. I'm going to be heading on a big trip to Japan soon. I'm probably going to get more goodies for this car and my other car as well. So make sure you subscribe and keep a lookout for that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want to see me do next. And as always, keep it fresh. I'll see you in the next one.